look, it's today's opening tip. Jimmy Butler losing his shoe, still converted, and won. I mean, it looks a little dangerous, though, right?
Jimmy's a great athlete. He can get 20 on them with no shoes.
With no shoes. But this is the crazy thing, is that he slips and then uses it to plant. Watch
Right.
it. Man, that could have been bad. Good for him.
There you go. A lot of shoes coming off in the NBA the last couple days. Lace up, children. Welcome to The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols. Today we have 2016 NBA champion Richard Jefferson, 2008 champion Paul Pierce. He was a Finals MVP, though, so what do you got?
He's far better than me.
I'm just saying.
Far better than me.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Coming up, we have Richard's college teammate, Gilbert Arenas, going to stop by. He's going to give Richard a hard time, too, so that's going to be nice. He's also going to play the game he was born for, thank you. What were you thinking on The Jump with Gilbert Arenas? Stay tuned for that. First, though, so the Knicks are in Dallas tonight to play the Mavericks, which means, we're getting Kristaps Porzingis' first game against his old team. Calling this a revenge game isn't quite right. I mean, what would KP really be seeking revenge for? For New York trading him to an organization that's been stable enough to keep the same coach for 12 seasons and has teamed Porzingis up with a player projected to be one of the great talents of his generation? Nah, Porzingis isn't mad, bro. Knicks fans, on the other hand, there has been some well-documented frustration there.
That.
And I'm not sure watching Porzingis play tonight is going to help them settle their feelings one way or the other, frankly. KP has largely been what we expected so far this season, right? With the ups and downs of a talented player coming off a 20-month layoff. Even once he settles, there's a lot about him we can't know for a long time. How injury-prone is the rest of his career going to be? Will the sexual assault accusation that's followed him from New York to Dallas turn into charges being filed? We don't know that either. Still, the potential upside for the Mavericks is huge. KP and Luka Doncic, that duo could be the backbone of that team for the next 10 years, poised to take over the West after the current crop of superstars age out of their primes. Mark Cuban keeps saying he sees Porzingis and Doncic as the next Dirk and Steve Nash. And hey, remember how the Mavericks got Nowitzki in the first place? They traded the Bucks' Robert Traylor for him in what would become one of the more lopsided deals in NBA history. Now, will the Porzingis trade go down as much of the same? The Knicks coach, David Fizdale, stressed yesterday, you can't judge this one yet. We don't know what Dennis Smith Jr. is going to turn into, he said.
I do.
We don't know who the
I
Knicks
do.
will draft with the 2 first-round picks that were also part of the deal.
I do.
And that's true. Although one of those assets may have to turn into, as good a player as Porzingis for things to feel more balanced. It certainly feels like the whole "but we cleared cap room" thing did not pan out for the Knicks. First, I don't know if front office gets extra credit for clearing bad contracts it negotiated in the first place. And second, the superstars that the Knicks cleared cap room for didn't end up coming this past summer. There is the issue, though, of whether Porzingis even still wanted to be in New York. The Knicks will tell you they had to make that trade. And the New York Post's Mark Berman just wrote a very detailed story on the roots of how the marriage between KP and the Knicks went wrong. Berman reports that Phil Jackson actually tried to trade KP multiple times, once after Porzingis' rookie year and again in 2017. Now, we don't know if that's what started to sour Porzingis on the team. We do know Jackson publicly trashing Carmelo Anthony upset him, as did the team firing his favorite assistant coach. At the same time, they declined to hire his personal athletic trainer, the way many other teams do for their stars. We know that once Porzingis tore his ACL, he became even more separated from the team. Reports started leaking out about KP's, quote, diva behavior. It didn't help that the Knicks cycled through 4 different coaches in KP's 3+ years there, giving him little reason to feel anyone telling him what to do would be around that long anyway. All of that led to the infamous meeting between the sides this past January, where Porzingis' brother reportedly asked for a trade, and hours later, the Knicks, who had already been shopping him yet again and had the framework of their deal with the Mavericks already in place, pulled the trigger. Fast forward to tonight, where all Knicks fans can do is watch KP play in another jersey and wonder what might have been. I guess it's kind of like Instagram stalking your ex, except it's in person with the whole NBA watching. Maybe that's its own revenge, after all. Paul, how do you think Knicks fans should feel about this trade?
If I'm a Knicks fan, I will feel devastated because you only can win when you have that superstar, that unicorn guy, that generational talent. And Porzingis is a generational talent. And when you lose something like that, a 7-footer with the skill level, the shooting ability, something you can build around, have hope for the future, it just sets the Knicks back, I think, another 10 years.
Wow.
Because you
That
miss out on all these free agents year after year. You remember they missed out on LeBron free agency.
Yep.
They missed out on this last free agent this past summer. And then you get this talent. This is what you have to build through. And then when you lose that or trade that away, it's just like, wow, what's next for Knicks fans?
Honestly, the Knicks fans should not be surprised. This is what they should expect from their franchise. Like top to bottom, all the different things, all the different coaches. Like this is just, it is what it is. And it's unfortunate that the Knicks fans, well, not that unfortunate, but they have to deal with this. I think Porzingis is going to be a great player. Obviously, there's some health things, and they want to make sure he's going to be healthy. But for the Mavericks, this was a win-win. I really don't think the Mavericks risked anything. Even if he didn't work out, you still have one of the great young players that could be of this generation.
You can take more of a risk if you've got Luka already.
Yes, I think for the Knicks, they should have tried to keep him at all costs unless they got a superstar in return, unless they got a guaranteed top 5 pick in return. They didn't get any of those things, right? Dennis Smith Jr., very talented player, but he's not even going to be close to either of those guys. And so I just think that they missed out, and it is what it is.
Continue to miss.
Continue to miss.
Look, to Fizdale's point, we don't know what those 2 draft picks are going to turn into. But if those 2 draft picks, even if one of them turns out to be a Kristaps Porzingis level player, the timeline is going to be several years back from what it would have been with Porzingis. I always thought going into this summer's free agency, Porzingis might be a draw for a big-time free agent.
Someone might
but then
think
he
that.
got hurt. Right? So once he got hurt, I don't know how much some guy would have wanted to come play this summer, not knowing what he was going to come back as. I don't know.
If they would have known, they would have known that he was going to be back to start of the season, right? The start of the season. So anybody coming in would have known. Like, understand, like Kyrie and KD. Kyrie still went to Brooklyn knowing that KD wasn't going to play for him a full year.
I'm not putting Porzingis in the Kevin Durant category, but yes, I know what you mean.
He's not Kevin Durant, but he is in that same mold of very unique player that people want to see and want to play with.
Yeah. I mean, look, he is a player that was the unicorn. We talk about all these unicorns in the NBA.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant coined that nickname for Kristaps Porzingis. That is where that came from. He is a rare kind of player. And again, we'll find out how he ends up going. We already know how the cap space thing went because, yes, they will have more cap space again in 2021.
Cap space forever.
They signed short-term deals. But except for Porzingis himself, all the cap space they cleared would have been up by then anyway. So that really becomes a wash. It's just sort of who are the players.
Irrelevance there.
That they have. It's going to be
interesting. It's good to have somebody that doesn't like the Knicks the way I do.
I was going to say.
Care less.
You guys are turning me into a Knicks defender, which the internet will tell you does not happen very often.
Why would you ever defend that?
As for the Mavs, let's talk about the Mavericks. They're hovering near the top of the West standings at 5-2 right now. They have, again, a very promising duo of Porzingis and Luka Doncic. Richard, are the Mavs looking like a playoff team this season? Is the train going to arrive early?
Yes, I think so. And it really, again, if both of these guys can play 75 games or more, that means that they're primarily healthy on this season. Then I think one of them can carry them. If both of them are playing well, they're going to win. One of them can carry their team to win. And their bench has shown early on, and they just got J.J. Barrera back, if their bench can sustain how they've been playing, then yeah, I think 7-8, they can make the postseason.
Absolutely. If Porzingis is healthy, he could be a borderline all-star. And what more can I say about Luka Doncic? Man, he's not only playing at all-star level, he's playing at MVP candidate level. Yeah. And so will they make the playoffs? Absolutely, as long as they're healthy, without a doubt.
Certainly Golden State falling out of the playoff race is going to help them. Sacramento, which we thought would be knocking on that door for that 7th or 8th spot. It's a long season, but still has not looked like that so far. The Pelicans, we thought would be knocking on the door maybe potentially for that 8th spot. We don't know when Zion's going to come back and sort of where they're going to shake out. So.
And every team that you just said, neither of those teams have a superstar or 2 superstars like the Dallas Mavericks do. So I wouldn't bet against them.
It's going to be an interesting night tonight in Dallas. All right, coming up, after the Clippers received a $50,000 fine for Doc Rivers' comments about Kawhi Leonard, are they handling the load management situation correctly? We will discuss all that. First, though, it's time for our distant replay from this date, featuring our friend Grant Hill, 1994.
I patterned my game after Grant when I was
so nasty. That left hand.
You know that?
He was my favorite player, watching him at Michigan State.
It doesn't have to be a good pass.
Well, he didn't go to Michigan State.
No, Steve Smith, Michigan State. It was him at Duke. Them two guys, them was the 2 guys I patterned my game. Steve Smith and Grant Hill. Duke and Michigan State.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
They're still not sitting down here at the Palace.